Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of System Override. This week, we got some great stories. We're really talking about the human and how the human actually gets to really make some great decisions as we carry on and get more embraced in AI. And we're super excited about what we have to talk about. Right, Bree?
Very excited. Why? Is my RBF showing strongly? Did I not look at
No. I was just mixing up the intro to see
No, you really
see
threw me
how it
off. I was
landed.
like, "Why? What's happening? Why are you asking me like that?"
The audience, we should know that we've had 20 minutes of technical difficulty just getting to this point. So everything feels a little bit disjointed today. Did you have a great week?
I did have a good week. I feel like so many wins, so many good things for the team, forward momentum this week, which is awesome. But I think it's like a good call out too is to remember like we had an incredible week of wins, but sometimes when you're just building and you're so in it and you're also just like a high performance team and we talked to ourselves about making sure that we celebrate the wins when they happen in an appropriate manner that is relevant to the celebration. Because even though we're all
Even
so
though
excited inside or thrilled about how things are going, I think I just have like, not, and this isn't for the team, it's more for myself personally. I was like laughing about it with Emma because I just have like my Asian mom brain inside my head
the
that's just
end
like,
that
she's like, well, this happened. Are you excited about this or that you did that? And I was just like, let's not get too over ahead of ourselves. I'm pleased. The work isn't done yet, but I feel pleased. And she's just like, oh my God, you're such a psycho. And I'm like, I know, I got to get better at it. But it's like, I think that's what keeps the drive. But at the same time, you need joy
we
with
need to
drive and you need to ensure that you're filling your cup too, because I am thrilled about some of these other things that are going on for us. And so maybe it's more about me personally, like when I'm working on my own things that contribute to the team, I need to make sure I'm celebrating my own wins as much as I am genuinely celebrating the team wins. But yeah, it was a lesson learned for me this week
yes.
to be more than pleased because that energy is good for my own things.
I think that it always is that we are just like we've only hit one small milestone.
Yeah.
We have so many other things. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, good. But
Yeah.
like now we have 20 other things that
Yeah.
have to get
It's like
done.
I'm climbing
It just
Everest and I'm at summit one. It's like, yeah,
right.
it's an accomplishment, but I got like 12 other fucking summits to do. So
Yeah.
like I gotta keep going.
Yeah, exactly, right? The roadmap isn't ever empty. You
Yeah.
get to that milestone and then it just kind of like
Yeah.
automatically fills back up.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly. And we talked about how you're always moving your like you set a bar here. And so like if you were here and immediately got to that bar, you'd be thrilled. But like as you get closer to that bar, you just keep raising it, your expectations, or you're progressing. So you never actually feel like you're like passing it. You're just like always chasing it. So it kind
yeah,
of like erodes that feeling a little bit. So yeah, we're just making sure and Shannon's like automated a text to us that comes like multiple times a week, which I also think is nice because it's like an always on of that, energy.
yeah, it's so funny how I just like, sometimes you look at technology and you used it before
Yeah.
and then you don't think about a different, a different use of that same
Yeah.
technology. And
Right? It's like
yeah,
I should do that for my kids. Like for Margot, it's like I should
right.
honestly she's got her little watch. She could get it all the time. Although I feel
Yeah,
like she'd probably get annoyed at me because I was talking to her last night on her little it's like she has a little chat thing with her friend, but it's also on my phone, and, like, I can it's more, like, so that she can chat if she's with me because she got rid of it for a while, which was, like, a
right.
very grown-up thing of her to be like, "I don't know if this is serving me. I'm gonna get rid of it for a while." And I was like, "Okay, good job,
I am,
wise child."
she is
But
wise.
keep an eye on them, which I like, and it's, like, making sure things are okay.
Love that.
But I thought she was trying to get a hold of me because she was with that friend last night when we were at baseball, and, but it wasn't. I was just, like, jumping in on their chat, and so, like, as I'm typing to her and, like, asking her things, she's, like, erasing it, and so I'm like, "Why are you erasing all my messages?" She's like, "Because I am. You're, like, littering up my friend chat. Like, get out of here, mom." And I was like, "Oh, I thought this was a way we could talk to each other, but I'm not welcome, I guess, so I'll
Yes.
sorry. Sorry."
Oh, that's so cute. I
Yeah.
love children. They keep us grounded.
Grounded. She's like, "You're not cool enough to be in here. Get out of here. You're embarrassing me."
It's like our worst nightmares come true.
I know. It's like,
Don't
I'm
worry. When they
cool,
get
okay? I'm a cool mom, and people think that I'm cool just because I'm your mom, but, like, I'm like, I wear Converse sneakers for Christ's sake, child. I'm cool.
well, good news is they do come around. In my experience, they do come around and they do want to hang out with you, and they don't mind if you text them. Now, sometimes they get mad about what you text them with, but they do begin to think you're cool again.
Yeah. I mean, she steals my clothes. It's like, I
Yeah,
think
that's
that
cool.
shows that they're pretty cool clothes if you're
Yeah.
taking.
She probably's like, "I just let my mom buy it so
Yeah.
that she buy it, but it's really mine."
Yeah, that's what she's realized, that
Yeah,
as if we were shopping together, she's like, "I love that, you should get it," and then all of a sudden it just disappears from my closet.
right.
Where
I
is the thing?
Yeah, she is your child. She's
I know.
extremely brilliant.
She's really thinking.
Good problem solver.
A good problem solver. She knows how to get stuff done.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let's just recap before we jump into our stories this week. Last week, our big action was we asked everybody to kind of think about what they like, what's they do better than others, and sort of, some people call this like your value proposition, but it's as simple as like, what do you do better than somebody else, so that you can really tag into that, because that's part of what triggered me sending that reoccurring text to the team, is that I wanted everybody to make sure they always remember that each one of us has different skills, and together we bring those skills together to do great things. But you
Mhm.
never want all of us to have the exact same special power.
Mm.
And I think that's, this big ask from last week triggered it in my mind, like, how can you actually make sure people are always thinking about the thing that they do better than anybody else?
Yeah, I love that. And I think we had such a great example from this week too of that diversity of differences, because I do think we all have very unique skill sets that we bring to the team. And we were going through a bit of a strategy sesh on some of our like socials and marketing plans. And we had a divergence of, and like a friendly, like a debate. It wasn't negative, but we were like struggling to kind of connect. And each of us were having things where like, it's not quite there for me. Like, I feel passionately about this. I can't totally like explain why, but I feel like it has to be this. And then the other group was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing it." And then, but through that, we could not, connect at first in the sense of like seeing the other side, because we were all both thinking of it through our own unique lens and our own unique way. And then as we bridged that, so it turned from debate into brainstorm and collab in trying to understand. And then through that, we birthed something that was incredible and we were so excited about. And so it's like, that's why you don't want people who think exactly like what you do.
Right.
And at first, it feels like it depends how you take it. It's all like, to some people that could feel annoying. You're like, you don't get it. Like, I get it. This is how it should be. And you just don't understand. And that's, I think, a natural way for people to kind of think when someone is thinking differently than them. But I think the challenge to everyone is lean into that and understand. It just might be the language that they are using is not the language you would use to define that concept. And it's not that you're misaligned necessarily with the concept. It just also, there's always more there. So I would say like lean, if you respect that person. Now, obviously, if it's like a jerk who's an idiot, and like you don't need to waste your time leaning into somebody who's just being a jerk and idiot. But like if it's someone that you work with, it's your peer, you trust them, you respect them, you see what they do, give the benefit of the doubt and lean in to find out, because that's where the magic happens.
I think that it was a really interesting to watch happen as we kind of moved our way through that conversation. We have talked about it before, that we believe that debate has become very fiery. Even as you explained it, you just said debate, but not negative. Well, debate actually has never been negative. Debate is actually like, we have clubs about debate. We taught people how to, uh, defend a particular side. Lawyers do it all the time, right? Like, but yet somehow in society it has become that you have to take one side and you need to stay on that side, and you don't get to come to the middle. And to watch that contribution by all four of us in how we got to the solution, which is far superior to all of the individual ideas alone,
Far
right?
superior, like, and like not even like a little bit superior, like way up here. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we were
Like,
all
we're all
down
jazzed
here
about it now.
and we were all like and like struggling with that.
Yeah.
But then through working through this process, we didn't just do this, we went like up the elevator. And I
Yeah.
think that's the opportunity. And I think to what you said, it's like it feels negative. It's because when people care strongly about something, they're passionate. And like we're like that. We're passionate and you want to passionately get people to see your point. But I think the line is you need to be respectful. You can be
Yes.
passionate, you can't be an asshole. And so, like,
Yes.
that's the difference. Like, you can't be an asshole and say that's passion. Cause I think a lot of people, this, well, I'm just passionate. It's like, no, you're being an asshole. Like, stop doing that. You can still be passionate while respecting the other person's opinion. And I think that's the biggest thing is like seeking to understand is the biggest difference versus trying to shove your ideas someone else's throat.
I think that's a really good point, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about how debate clubs work, or, even now lawyers, there's set rules on how they go back and forth, and there's respect given to each side to prove out or talk about their point, right? Same thing in this conversation is that even when it could have felt a little bit pointed, let's call it, I don't know if that's the right word, but because when you're talking about somebody's particular idea,
Mhm.
you can always feel like, wait a second, like, why don't you guys like this idea?
Why don't
I've
you
thought
like
about it all
it?
night.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead, that nobody took that way, and instead let everybody be heard. And from that, just erupted into this beautiful metamorphosis of an idea that we're excited. We're bringing
Yeah.
that to market.
So excited. Like, I was just like, I am like so, I would have never thought of this idea otherwise. And I am so jazzed.
And it's so funny because if you know any of us, we don't have huge personal presences on Instagram. And this whole project is about Instagram.
Yeah,
So, and for us, me in particular, I only speak to me to get
I know.
excited about an Instagram project that involves me having to be on video. Yeah, I don't have to say anything else.
I
That's
know. I think that's the thing. It's like this podcast is different and I love like having deep conversations. I don't love the idea of just the sense I love the idea of connecting. And so that's where I've had to rework this in my mind in the
yeah,
sense like it's really about connecting in another way that I really enjoy because the thought again of becoming like an influencer, of having a persona that like I'm pumping has always been something like and I was even thinking, I'm like, God, I'm gonna send a note to my friends and be like, FYI, I haven't had a lobotomy, but like this is just like what's happening. Okay. So like just chill, like go along with it. So it's
don't put nasty comments
yeah,
in.
like
This is
don't talk about me behind my back on the text threads. I know it'll happen. I mean you can do it, but like just know there's a reason, okay? Like chill.
That is kind of funny, actually. Why it is interesting that we do this every Friday.
I
Well,
know.
it's not Mondays, but we have fun doing this. This doesn't
So much
feel
fun.
anything like that, where
Yeah.
Instagram feels a lot more exposed.
I think it's also like this is me talking to you, which is why it's
Yeah.
fun. But me talking to the camera feels like
Yeah.
and I think also it's maybe the perception that can come along with that when you've heard of how other people or like the
Yeah.
trolley thing, it just feels more exposed. Like you said, it's like more personal, more exposed. There's something very, very raw to it. And it's like, okay, I'm ready.
Well, all of our listeners here wait to see the new Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go find out what was being said today or this week. We had some interesting things. KPMG, Meta, Amazon have all put additional mandates into their businesses around AI usage. And we talked about mandates a couple weeks ago, but this story I thought was interesting because it really is now scoring them and making it part of their kind of annual quarterly reviews
Mhm.
and that sort of thing. And so it has workers that are, we know that there's sort of a negative sentiment about it,
Mhm.
AI. So to be this particular about it and measuring somebody's performance and
Yeah.
potentially their ability to stay in their role or to be compensated. It's quite interesting on how
Yeah.
they're doing that. And so, what was your thought on this one?
I'm gonna give an interesting viewpoint maybe to like what might be expected of my thoughts on it because I think I come across always as like a really like woohoo kind of person sometimes in like the sense of like support the feelings. But for this, it's like I'm kind of a couple minds because it's like I don't hate it. I'm gonna tell you why I don't hate
Yeah.
it. Is because I think a lot of the anti AI sentiment from an employee perspective is driven by the media. And so I feel based on a lot of like what we see as comments and like reading into some of these strains, I guarantee the majority of people haven't actually used AI in a real way. And so and also when you like draw parallels to what AI is in the sense of like, your Microsoft Office suite or having to use an email, it's a tool. And it is ludicrous to me to think of any business not using this tool and trying to like it's basically like saying, okay, like, it's like and you were always as an employee, like, accountable for ensuring you had this baseline skill set. You know what I mean? It's like, I could not put in a resume and be like, "Don't know how to use Word, but you better hire me, or you better pay for my Microsoft Office training because that's on you." Like, that seems like a weird like, no one would say that, right? And so I just don't understand why it's so well, I do understand, but it's like that's where I think we're falling into with this, like, resistance is you haven't actually used it. And so there's such a difference again from when you haven't it's like someone using an abacus to do accounting, and then you could use a calculator or an Excel spreadsheet. Like, that's the difference between what we're doing today to using AI. And I think people just don't use it because I think a lot of people think it's so techy. It's like Elon Musk and Sam Altman are talking about it. Like, I can't possibly, that's too beyond for me without realizing this is like the most simplistic tool that you've ever had to use. And like, you're not going to be like developing, you're not coding. Like, if you're like me, you can use it from a front end that's pretty much like Googling. You know what I mean? And I don't think people understand enough around it, is what I read into this. So I don't love mandates generally, but sometimes people, when they're doing like, I think it's like people can have a tendency of these little herd kerfuffling and turning into little goat rodeos sometimes with their own drama llamaing. And I feel like that's what this is a little bit. Is like there's a lot of fear mongering, and I think it's warranted because of what's coming down in the news. And it's making AI seem like instead of like here's something you can use for your business. So like this is like in the trying to pump it and make it a thing, I think from the tech space, they've actually like screwed themselves a little bit by like creating the wrong messaging. Cause I think this would have been better adopted if they'd been chill about it and been like, hey, here's something that can really help you utilize your work, and getting it into companies and not making it seem so dramatic. But because it's been made to seem so dramatic, it feels like such an onerous thing. And now people are resisting just based on that emotion and the fear attached to it. Whereas if you just got in there, like, and started using it, you'd be like, "Oh shit, I'll always use this. This is way better than my life." I don't and like from an employee perspective, it's like, bro, you can make more money and do less work. Like, we all want this tool in the future of work. Like, why would you not want to be using this? All of the hard, shitty things, which are usually administrative, the pain in the ass things at time, you could automate and have workers working for you. Like, this is a gift if you want to see it that way. And so that's where I'm like, I think people just kind of need to get out of their own way a little bit. And sometimes a mandate is necessary when people are being Delulu drama llamas. And I feel like it's a little bit of Delulu drama llamaing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts about this article. So
Yeah.
first of all, I'm totally with you. I think at this juncture, companies need to put mandates in order to get change to happen,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes
Like
you just
sometimes that
gotta
is just
force
how it has
everyone
to
to the
be.
table to eat their freaking dinner.
Yeah,
And then they're like,
like
I do love this dinner, actually. It's delicious. It's like, yeah, we only spent 12 hours getting you to this table to eat the freaking thing.
exactly. And like I hope that the mandates don't align to losing jobs and like
Yeah.
something like that. Like I hope that they are a little bit on the continuum of knowing there's going to be early adopters, there's going to be middle of the line, and then there's going to be some resistors on the back end. And then when you have that resistor group, figure out how to get them on.
Yeah.
Use your classic change management type of approach. But what I didn't like in this article that it could have done such a good job about doing was that, unlike when like Microsoft was introduced in the 90s and there was very similar resistance to
Mm-hmm.
it, right? There was people didn't want to switch. They didn't like it. They didn't want to use it. Excel was very hard and cumbersome. You had to take big long courses in order
Yeah.
to use it. AI is not like that. What this article missed, in my opinion, was the fact that AI can teach you how to use AI.
It's like there's not a lot of training. And that's the thing is like employees saying they're not being trained. It's like, okay, well, and this is where companies fall down in the sense of like doing good change management, good communications, understanding that people are humans and that they should be like messaging this in a way. Because if you really
You
want
really
people to use it, give them some prompts they can copy paste
exactly.
into it and then start that self discovery. You need
Yes.
something that's enough of a template to take the first step so that and also people need to feel like they're driving it. So how do you make them feel like they're a part of it, they have control, it's choice is involved, but you're giving them
Giving them
choices it's and it always comes back to the like humans like it's just says so many parallels to parenting to me all the time. It's like getting a toddler to do something you don't want them to do. You have to use the same principles. Give them a
giving
box, but give them choices within the box. But set clear boundaries, abide by those boundaries, but be present for feelings. You know what I mean? Like it's the same shit. And so I think that's the biggest falling down to your point. It's not
yes.
being executed well.
And I think, like, if they would do and I love the idea of giving prompts, like, if they would
Yeah.
have designed a few, because
This
we
gives
were reading some stuff this week about cool prompts that I didn't know existed that make, the AI do different things or think about, like, use a persona that would give you a different answer. I think that companies that have done that see stronger change. Mandates still might be required, mostly to measure, again, who are your early adopters, who are your middle of the roaders, and who are your resistors, because then you might have special things for those resistors. There might be some commonality around why those guys are resisting. And maybe they're a type of job that they're really worried about losing their job through
Yeah.
this. And then you can do a little bit more hand holding. You can't do hand holding with 600,000 employees or whatever
Yeah.
Amazon is, right? Like
Yeah.
you need to make sure you get some people there on their own. Well, then you can do some work with the other ones. And I think that I actually think this is the right move at this particular point. Well, if it is being communicated and done
Yeah.
in a way that's really humanistic.
Yeah. Well, and I think also too, like people, I think it feels really hard to jump to figure out how to do this for your job when you don't know something that just feels
Right.
too overwhelming. And so it's
Yes.
like, stop putting so many parameters like that around it. Just get people using it for personal, like give them personal prompts. Well, that's our high value, high return. It's like, plan a trip for me. I'm going to Europe. Plan a trip for me. Help me find the best things. Help me find the best this. And then they can see how it works in a way that is digestible. They understand this process of how to do a trip. They know the value because it's a pain in the ass to do all the searching and figure out everything comparatively, especially like and then ask it to like in the prompt like make you a spreadsheet so then they can see it can actually generate materials. It's not just a conversation. Like say break down a budget sheet for me with all of these different options, tier it option 1 2 3, like give them some really good prompts that aren't just like generic ones and then leaving such a big gap for them to figure out with their work. It's more about just getting them comfortable with what it can do. They know their
Mhm.
job, so they'll start applying it, but you have to start making these smaller bites and also make it fun. Like make a
And make it
challenge.
fun.
Make a challenge at work to be like, guess what? We're gonna give away $1,000 to the person who comes with the best AI use case. And it can be about anything, not the business, just anything. What is the most brilliant way that someone put in a problem to be solved and came up with the best outcome, output, whatever, and then make it a fun challenge. And then people can do things that are personal to them. They can whatever, because the whole objective, like you're trying to bite off too much. Like the whole objective is one, just get people to see the potential and how much it can help them. And the more they start to use it in their personal life, the more it's going to bleed over into their work life. So it doesn't matter what the use cases are. The matter is the learning and the comfortability. And then you can start adding in how to do this in work.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other piece I would say from a this is and if you're an employee, like don't be a curmudgeon. Like, don't be a little like problem child who's just digging your heels in. Sit with those feelings and say
Yeah.
why. And it's probably because you're worried it's going to take your job. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you use this like a sword to your opportunity, it's not going to take your job. It's going to make your job better. It might get you a better opportunity. It might give you more revenue streams that you even start thinking about in the job you have today outside of it. Like there's so much opportunity for you tied to this. So stop looking at it like a punishment.
That is an exceptional segue to the next story, which is we finally have a really good news story about how actually the door is not closing on jobs. We are not letting go of people. But interestingly enough, that the job posting is actually going up, like exploding, like 144% more jobs were posted last month than the previous month. And most of them they had AI skilling in them. So sure, there have been layoffs, but what is happening, most of those layoffs were in the tech industry, right? Like, let's be really honest. They were inflated companies that probably were a little bloated. This allowed them, and now, but those tech resources are highly valuable
Mm-hmm.
inside of corporations who are now figuring out exactly how they want to be using AI in their organization. And it's not just as a chatbot, it's not just as a knowledge surfacer, it's actually in the operations of it where you can do stuff all the way across a customer journey and really recognize patterns and opportunities in your journey, or maybe it's in your accounting processes to make sure that you're really getting crisp on numbers, and it can look for errors and things like this, surfacing information and insights that we've never been able to have before without a ton of, manual labor. And this is amazing that we're finally starting to see an increase in job posting, AI related, obviously, but I think really important. What did you think, Brie?
Yeah, and I think this is a lot of what we've talked about in the past is it's like it's more around displacement. And that's why
Yeah.
we're so obsessed with this shifting landscape is it's like how to shepherd through displacement and how to keep motivated and positive and uplifted in this because there's a lot of opportunity, but it's change. And so
Yes.
like yes, jobs are going to go like this, but new jobs and there's a great futurist named I always mess up her name. Sinead Bovell. Sinead? Sinead? I can't remember if that's the right pronunciation. But basically, she is a very sought after futurist. She has great content. I would highly recommend looking at some of her content because I feel like she has such a good way of communicating the future of work, the shifting of skills in a way that you can kind of wrap your head around and see what they're saying and how the data, like they're the whole thing from that perspective is like, what's the data showing and how is the data moving in that direction? Um, and like she talks a lot about, even you think like what we're doing right now, podcasting. You go back 50, however many years, like this wasn't something you told someone from 100 years ago who was a farmer, like this is what we're doing for our job. They'd be like, I don't even understand. What's this? It's like, well, we've been on the internet. It's like, what's the internet? It's like all of these things. And so it's like, there's so many jobs coming that we don't even know what they're going to be, And like, you think there's influencers. You would have never thought it's like, oh, I just talk to people and they just watch it. Like, no one would have
Right.
thought that that would be like a job. I mean, well, maybe the profits and those people would have thought, but I don't know if they
Yeah.
were getting money off of it. But you know what I mean? And so, like, there's so many new jobs coming that we don't even know what they are. And so that's why we're so obsessed with like your own compass and how you figure out you because like you just need to figure out how to navigate yourself and it's all about a
Right.
better compass for you as things change and that's the best way you can put control is around yourself because things are just going to change around you so figure out how to
Mhm.
really manage yourself so I it's not surprising that this is what it is but we're watching these kind of trends and news obsessively so like I'm kind of like yeah of course this is what it is.
Well, and I think it's as we've done more research for our work at League, I think we found this is a really compelling story in the fact that, you can think back to the 1920s, 1930s, and, somebody in their 20s turns to their mom and dad and says, I'm not going to be a farmer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm going to become a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And their mom and dad are like, "No way, what's a pilot? Why would you do that? Why would you risk your life? You can't do that." Like today, if some kids said they wanted to be a pilot, you'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. There's lots of opportunity
Buddy
there."
passes for us. We're going all over the world.
Exactly. Right? Like that's what it was like in another era that
Yeah.
had this kind of technology that could have such a profound impact on the way we work and how we work and the structure of work and the type of jobs that we are doing. Like, so I think when we're saying that message, we want people to really think about it is that transformable. So we're not sugarcoating that, meaning you do need to, like, the quicker you can get on thinking about this, applying it to your daily lives, bringing great ideas to your job around how the company might want to deploy it and utilize it, like that is where you're going to find yourself getting through What I think will still be some discomfort as things shift around and people get replaced, not like repositioned. I mean, not
Shift,
replaced,
yeah.
repositioned into, maybe a new job or a new skill level, which AI is going to help us do. So it's not like you're doing it like, in that example where, okay, I was a farmer, now I'm going to become a pilot. Like, not a whole bunch of transferable skills.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was probably harder than what we can do because we have so much technology around us today, so many places that we can simulate things, where we can go and test hypothesis, where we can, do some assessments and, do what we're doing at League, where we're really helping people figure out what their skills are, where their expertise is, monitor, manage, look at that data that actually moves with them in their career, and really focus on the AI,
Yeah.
the AI ecosystem, and
Yeah.
how they kind of work within that means. So I think people can really find different ways that they can jump on this and be really successful and be part of this, large number of jobs that are available that are just transitioning from one industry to another.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think from that, it's just, yeah, I think don't stress out about it, you know? I think
Mhm.
as a person, this feels like overwhelming and stressful because you're like, "Oh my god, I have to get in front of this. I have to stay ahead. Things are changing." And I think this goes back to our previous conversation around people not really utilizing AI even at
Mhm.
all to understand because it's the best thought partner. Like it's such a great real-time thought partner. And so, like, as you're just thinking about these things, like, just start pumping it into ChatGPT or something and ask it to be a thought partner with you of ways to think about this or ways, if you're feeling overwhelmed, how can you manage it? And you don't have to come up with all the ideas. I think that's the coolest thing is like,
Mhm.
even for your own path, there's so many resources and even in just using AI itself to help you figure that out. So don't stress. And also, you could get the League app, you guys. I just realized that was part of our big win because our paywall was being a pain in the butt for us, but it's now fine. So you could even do that. And I didn't mean that as an intentional plug, but it's true now and I can say it.
Say it out loud. It was an intentional plug. It's okay.
Yeah.
Being sponsors this. Oh, okay, one final note on that one before we transition to the last story today. But you know what? One of the easiest ways to use AI is just Google. So
Yeah.
in Google now, they have an AI mode that you can have, and it just in your regular search, you don't have to change your process at all. But
Yeah.
the top of the screen when you get the answers is now an AI generated prompt or a outcome, right? And so like just figure out and see the quality of that type of information and how you use that information to then maybe get yourself to the websites or what you're
Mhm.
looking for, in particular, like you would have used Google before. It's super easy. And then from there, click on, we could say Gemini, we could say any of the big five, but you can just go in there and then use the prompts there as well. Just ask it.
Just ask it.
Just ask
I
it,
like
tell
Claude
me
just
how to
personally.
use you
Claude
the best way to for you to use you. Yeah, yeah.
Reco. ChatGPT, I feel like is like where people probably go first thoughts, but I actually like Claude a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Claude is like, I don't know what I'd do without it
That's like
now.
one of my new best friends. It's very
It's like
important in my life.
it's like I get up in the morning and say, "Good morning, Claude.
Yeah.
Today we're going to work
Thank you
on
for
this."
being in my life, Claude. You're making sure I don't die. I love you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Oh my god, I love the prompt you sent this week from that Instagram poster. It was like
Yeah.
it put it into founder mode, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it can speak like from a founder's perspective.
Well, just even some of the direction and things around it for some of the different
Yeah,
use cases, I was like, "Ooh,
so
this
cool.
is tightening up." Like, I like that. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like some of those persona stuff we were building in ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So now they're building them
Good at that.
into which is awesome because like again, it can look at the back end and say, look at all these people that are like trying to get it from a founder's perspective. Well, let's just build a prompt that
Yeah.
automatically can
And then
work
next
like,
thing you know, they'll build a little like where cowork is or whatever. They'll just have another little
yeah,
mode up top you can go into.
so exciting. Okay, third story today is hilarious to me. So again, I think we've touched on this topic many times, but it really was about how we're gonna have all these layoffs, the doom and gloom, But then that means you build your product, you get it so optimized, there's no people to buy your product because they don't have jobs. Like, so it's like this trap that somebody finally wrote a story about and was like looking at this paper that had come out of Boston University, out of the Wharton School of Business. And I was just like, okay, did it take a whole paper out of one of the best business schools in the world to decide that this loop wasn't going to work and that companies maybe don't want to do this? I love it. Like, there's got to be uses for everybody, but
I said that I read that and I was like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, wow, thanks for coming to the room. I
well,
appreciate you show up.
sometimes when we're picking the stories, I'm always like, I should put something in there that's just comical so that you and I can have a little bit of fun while we're doing.
I just like I have so many things I could say, but they're probably like would be like not great for the podcast, and they would like maybe ostracize us from certain audiences. So I'm not gonna say them. But it's just kind of like sometimes like what is it like? Stupid is as stupid does. Whatever Forrest Gump says. It's like yep. Thanks.
Well, maybe
You're
the
right.
good news here is that certain people don't believe things until they're in an article,
That's true.
right? So everybody's leaving the doom and gloom around AI, and that's like being this great thing. So now we have that actually this doom and gloom little loop you're on doesn't actually work for us.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if it gives you any sense of comfort, like, and especially if you come from like more of that, like, I don't trust the big guys, they're just manipulating us into this or
yeah.
that. Well, guess what, guys? They're not gonna screw themselves out of revenue. So they've all gotten on the bus now that this isn't gonna help them. So I think you don't need to worry as much anymore. They want your consumerism, so they're gonna make sure it stays.
Yeah, I think that I can't even actually imagine what it felt like, probably 2 years ago or whatever, as CEOs and C-suites were making the decisions on what they were going to do with AI. And all of those conversations, from what I can tell,
Yeah.
were about slashing OpEx and
No,
making
yeah.
sure those costs were gone
Yeah.
and, getting down those costs so that customers didn't cost them very much, because
hmm
heaven forbid that a customer actually is your revenue stream. Just,
Yeah.
I don't know why that has to be pointed out
I know.
constantly.
I just like keep this. There's a guy on Instagram. His name's Joe Fenty. He's like a comedian. I send you guys lots of his things. He does the funny like bro content from like consultants or bankers or
Yeah.
like tech bros, and he has a hilarious. And he was doing one on finance guys, or it was I can't remember what it was, but the whole thing was them just being like money. Because we want the money. And that's all I can see in my head is just like, that's exactly what it was like in the beginning. And they're just like, we're going to have no employees, no problems, no pain
No,
points, no HR. I am so excited. And then they're like moving down this. And then it's like watching and looking and then just being like, shit. Didn't really think that through the whole way.
they forgot that no
It works.
customers and that AI is not free.
Yeah.
Like, those
Did we
were
run the
two
models on
flaws to
this?
their
Did we run
model.
the financial model? Did we put it the whole way through the value chain? No, we just did our bit. Shit.
Yeah. So it's so funny how we've seen a number of prominent people and now papers that have explained the thing that most of us that were quite reasonably minded had seen from the very beginning.
It
Is
feels
that,
like what happens at corporates too when all the BU leaders, like the BU exec is just out for their own. And so then they're all doing things that just like make themselves look better within the organization. You know what I mean? But so like you're having this BU do this, but it's all things that actually conflict for
yeah,
actual optimized like productivity and revenue for the company. And it's just for personal gain. And so like I think this is an exact parallel. It's like you see it happening in companies when you're in corporate and you're just like, I roll like this. If you guys could all just align together, you'd all be
yeah,
getting like it's such a narrow-sighted view. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's like you're just going for your bonus and your internal 1 year IC comp. Like that's what you're making decisions on instead of like a collective, like, yeah, you could get that, but if you collectively all work together, the company could be up here and then your return would be extra higher. Extra higher, that's good language. But you know what I mean? And so I feel like this just feels the same. Like all of these companies are not realizing they're a part of a bigger organization of the economy, and kind of creating a united, well, not even united, but like a strategy that will work to a broader benefit. But again, that's not necessarily the play under pure capitalism. So
I want to commend that. That's very nice of you to think that people would lean into
know.
the
No,
collective economy
I
and
know.
not the earlier "show me the money" thing that you did.
Me, me,
because
me, me. I can't wait.
but everybody, and actually, it was interesting. I was having a conversation with Terry this morning about this exact topic. And, when you're in disruptive industries, it's hard to get people to move, even if they think it's the right thing to do and they can see the value, their compensation, their job,
Yeah, you got to
their
align
is
incentives.
all their money is
Yeah.
all tied to
Yeah.
whatever it is they're being measured on.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, if something falls over the next 5 years in workforces and how we work and structures of corporations, gosh, I hope it's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it just be better if everybody was measured, the C-suite in particular, were
Yeah.
measured on 3 or 4
Performance.
corporate goals, nothing specific to their
Nothing specific
particular.
to their business unit. It ruins
Like,
everything.
it does,
Yeah.
because you're right. Even if in your heart you're like, I absolutely know that that is a better idea, but I can see that that's going to hurt my ability to get to my personal goals, which, has probably a significant amount of compensation tied to it.
Yeah.
I'll never make that decision. Like, we've gotten to that point where people will not do that.
It's the psychology behind it. It's like, I'm watching Mr. Beast games because that's the kind of content I absorb these days with a 6-year-old. But it's the same thing. So like part of the challenge is there's all this money. It's like $5 million, $1 million, whatever it is, in this big funnel. And they had people where they had buried them in little, like, it was kind of creepy. They like buried them in little boxes and then they would come out in a certain order. And then one at a time, you'd get to go to the money. And so, of course, they all agree to split it equally. And that's their plan. They've been working together this whole time to get each other through the games. And they've all agreed they're going to split it equally. And then guaranteed, the first guy who goes in there, what's said to him is, yeah, okay, so you guys have a plan to split this money. You can take your share or you can take more and leave them with what's left. What do you want to do? And classic, every freaking time, it might not be the very first, well, not every time, but like the first ones who get there, they can't, it's like forbidden fruit. They just can't, it's the apple, they can't not touch it when they're like, I came here for a reason. I came here to do this for me and my family. Or when it's always a valid reason, like, I came
Yeah.
here to do this for me and my family, and you're giving me this opportunity. I can't not take a bigger chunk of this money because that's why I'm here, is to win this money. And so they do that. And then the rest go in, the first two took bigger chunks. The first guy took the biggest chunk, and then it's his job to go let the next guy out. And then he had to admit to the next guy he took a bigger chunk. And so then the next guy went in and is like, well, I'm going to take a bit of a bigger chunk. And then there's a smaller play left. And then the rest of them actually split it equally. But it was very interesting social science experiment because I think that's what people will do every time. Uh, But the thing I loved about it is he actually rewarded the one chick, is like she did something that was for the right of the team, and then he's like, well, you know what, you made that choice. Actually, I'm gonna give you your own $1 million that's sitting in a room over there for doing that choice or whatever. Like, it's such a cool social
Yeah. It is
experiment of
great.
how people will respond in that. But I think we just have to assume people will always gamify for their own personal benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he is a great, outside of
Entrepreneur.
his shows and
Yeah.
stuff, like, he is giving a significant amount of money
Yeah,
back.
he is.
Yeah, he's, like, set up his own foundation, and he's done some really cool stuff, which, I think is a really, you can tell just in his
Yeah.
being that
Yeah.
he does have a real social conscience.
He does. That's why I really like him. And
Yeah,
as far as like content, because it's like, yeah, you're watching Beast games, but then you're also watching him, give 1,000 people homes,
yeah,
in the third world countries, or like getting prosthetic limbs for 10,000 people around the world. Like, it's good lessons for kids, I think, as far as that's
for
concerned.
sure. And given he's Gen Z
Yeah.
himself, I think, right?
Yeah, he's young. He's very young.
Yeah, which I think is great. I think he's a great role model for that,
Yeah.
and works. I was listening to him on
Super hard.
on a podcast, and he was very impressive. I didn't know much about him except for I've obviously watched it on TV with my kids, and I was like, you were a very
He is
kind
very
and
impressive.
giving.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very impressive individual.
Because I remember when he first came up, I was like, who is this guy? He got
I know.
famous, like smashing cars. Like, what a lame. I don't want you watching this crap. But the more we got into it, I was like, oh, I actually really like Mr. Beast.
So that was one of the times that I got like a Margot comment. It was like, "What do you mean you don't know who Mr. Beast is?" Okay, noted. Let's go find out who Mr. Beast is. And then I came back and I do really enjoy
There you
him.
go.
So yeah, see? So it's good that those kids challenge us to be better.
Mhm.
Can't be ahead of them on everything that they know. That's for
Mm.
sure.
No, they're gonna drag me behind.
Exactly. Okay, let's finish off the week. We've been talking a lot about human choice, been really talking about, where there's some crazy stuff happening and calling it out and not believing everything that
Mhm.
you heard. So this week the big action is like let's think about confidence and your capability. uh, Pick one concrete thing that you can do. No headline to take it away. Just like, what can you build? How do you build it against AI? What's that one thing that
Mhm.
you can do and own? Kind of layers onto last week where you know your superpower. Is
Mhm.
there something that, AI can help you build on that superpower, or that complements that superpower, allows you to get that superpower out to more people? Kind of that sort of an action this week
I
I thought
like
was
this.
timely with these kind of
What was
topics.
your confidence from last week? You didn't share it. Well, I guess neither of us did. What was it?
Oh, yeah, we didn't
What's your
share them.
secret thing? Yeah, what is it? Not
For me,
secret thing, but your thing.
I think mine is always about bringing people together and getting them to move in the same direction and execute, right? Based on the fact that they come and have very different skills or things that like different backgrounds. Like I love it when a team has so many different things, which is part of the reason why I sent that text out this week. Was I want everybody to know that we all have different things and that it never is one person's better than another person. It's just that God or somebody, whoever you believe in, gave us these things. And that as soon as you know what it is, it's your job to lean into it and bring it to the table every single
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Shannon's a team builder. She's good at like it's like like the coach and you're like you know what you need. You're like, okay, we got some of this. We need to pull some of this. We gotta get this. I feel like I watch her be a little bit of a mixed master scientist of like, these are the rules, this is what we need, or this is what we're missing, or this is what this person's good at, and this is where this person could develop. And I feel like I would agree. And also like a really good, we need to get shit done, keeping everyone on track.
Yeah,
We all need
accountability is
we all need it.
can't put good strategy in without a great accountability. Like,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
think it's where people miss the most. Like I always say to
Yeah,
my teams is that execution leadership is the hardest type of leadership because it's grounded in accountability,
and
and
it creates
people let
discomfort
accountability
in a
slip
lot of
all the
ways.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. You can put in all the actions, you can say all the cool things, but if you don't actually get action and outcomes, what the heck was good about the strategy?
Well, and I don't even think like for us, like we know we'll get the outcomes, but it's like the pace. Like you gotta push for the pace. And I think you are a really good metronome of making sure the pace keeps ticking at the volume and the level that we want the pace to keep ticking.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to
Well,
let things slide. And so you
for
gotta have
sure.
it's easy to.
And sometimes things do slide. Like things
Yeah.
don't always happen in the time that we want done.
Yeah.
So then pick it back up and
Yeah.
figure out what the next plan is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was yours then?
Well, I guess mine ties to our social thing is like I am a really good connector. I'm
You
good
are.
at really getting into like the root of things, whether it's like a problem or like in an individual, and like being able to create high levels of trust, but like in a way that's light and humorful. And a way that like deeply connects. And so like that's really like what I see as my superpower. I'm really good at reading people too. Like I'm really good at reading people. It's like people don't have to even like say to me. I can kind of just do like a scan and I can just tell like what's going on. And so those are kind of like my superpowers. So the best way I can utilize that superpower for the team is to like start using that, hence our like social strategy and like all of that sort of thing is like how do I do that at scale and not just in person, where we can leverage that for creating, obviously the deep connections and sharing some of these things. I If you meet me, there's nothing that I love more than it's just like, "Oh, hi, we just met each other. Like, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. What are things that you've never told anyone before? Because you're gonna tell them to me, and we're gonna talk about it. Let's get in there. Let's just."
This is a true story, and she doesn't give up.
I won't. I won't. And I have like an incessant nosy need. It's just like to like, but it comes from a good place. I think that's why it
Exactly.
works. Is it's not from a place of nosiness. I just genuinely want to know you all the way, and I genuinely want to help you or be there for you or support you in ways that best support you. So the best
Yeah.
way I can do that is like cracking you open like a little nut and seeing the core on the inside. and I won't let you get away from me until that happens.
Duly noted.
Dude.
But the other thing I would say that why that you make that so successful is because you're also very transparent
Yes.
about who you are, why you're like that, what experiences you kind of, and you never do that in a way for any other thing except for to make that connection with someone
That's
else, right?
true. Yeah, there's
Often
no other
people will
reason to
share,
hide it.
challenges they've had in their lives or things that haven't gone maybe as expected, and they do it for another purpose. They
Yeah,
want sympathy, they want to be held like over here and daintily touched. Like that isn't you at all.
yeah,
You do it so that you can cement that connection, and that's why you're so good at it.
yeah, that's true. No undercover agenda, just
There
pure
is no
desire
undercover. Yeah,
to connect the powers. Let's plug in together. Let's just
exactly.
connect her right together.
Yeah. Which, I think that, and I think we've probably talked about this 1,000 times, but I still think that's the thing that excites me the most about AI is I think we're going to have more time to
For
do
that.
that,
Yes.
to get back to really connecting as humans. And, whether it's like that debate to this extraordinary idea that we had with the team yesterday, or it's like, having more time to really find out where people came from and what experiences they've been through. Like when we elevate as humans like that, I think we create a better society. I think we've been
I
so
agree.
heads down, so like compressed by all of the extra kind of busy work that came out of the last 100 years. And now I think we're going to be able to turn the tides a little bit.
Well, and I think too, like we're watching when it gets into that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like we're just creating a society like of late where it's like prices are through the roof. Like I cannot believe how expensive gas is. We're like, why didn't we fill up the other day? This is insanity.
Oh my gosh,
And
what
like
20-cent increase
groceries.
overnight?
Yeah, like I was just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Groceries, like all of these things. And so when it gets into like just being able to take care of your basic needs and stress around how to take care of yourself and your family and still maintain a life that, that you value and that is meaningful, like that's why people are shitty right now is because they're in a
Yeah.
stress mode trying, like no one does well under stress. And what we're watching is society react to what that feels like because your baseline of needs is being impacted. And so
Yeah.
I think that's where I want everyone to get on the bus, but we also need to have leaders at the top level, within AI and the call to have the right leadership there also helping drive it forward in the sense this can create a shift in that where we don't have to be in such a needs-based society and we can lift ourselves be like into a more needs are taken care of society and then at
Mhm.
that point
Like,
it can be on top of that. But it takes intention and it takes
it does.
genuine heart and it takes like a human level of and a desire to drive the human experience in that and not to just drive it from a profitability sake perspective. And so I think that's like a great note to end on as a call to action is like how can you be the positive light of change in that? How can you anchor yourself and move yourself in a way that pushes this in a way that helps support the human the next human evolution era where we can all get rid of some of these like triggers that we have from our caveman era of like hunting, fighting for food, for security, for safety. How can we leverage this in a powerful way to help support that?
That's great. I
Yeah.
love that. Although I am going to make one comment about prices. Have you priced chocolate chips lately? Or any type of bacon? Over $7.50 the other day. A
Really?
bag.
I mean, I buy the vegan ones because the dairy doesn't, so they're always more expensive. So I don't think I realized how much the
They're
regular
probably
chocolate chip.
$10 a bag.
Actually, no. Do you know what's expensive? Marshmallows. We're going camping. I went to
Yeah.
grab some marshmallows, and I was like, "There's like the jumbo bag of marshmallows that I am 100% used to be like $3.99. It
Yeah.
was $10 or something. I was like, "Are you
Bag of marshmallows.
for marshmallows? Are you joking me?" So I think I like didn't get the mega one because I'm like, we're never gonna eat
Whatever.
this many marshmallows anyways, and always have too many. And I got the medium size one because I'm like, I cannot in good faith spend more than $6 on marshmallows. Like, what
Well,
is this?
yeah, we didn't get chocolate chip cookies because I was like, I I was in awe. I
Yeah,
was I could
it's like
not believe.
and I have always been someone who likes cooking and is willing to spend
Yeah.
like quite a bit on groceries to make bougie fancy meals. Like I've always been the one who was going to the market and getting the fancy this or that. Like now I'm talking to Chris and I'm like, you know what? I think we need more bean meals in our life. I think we need some more lentil meals. I think we need to get rid of some of the like I haven't bought steak in so long, not because I don't love it, but I'm like, I'm not gonna spend this much money on like this was the same. I used to get like so much out of it from Costco, and now I can get like 4 freaking steaks in this one meal. And
Oh,
it's like,
that's
I'm not spending that.
yeah. It is crazy.
I just
That
don't
would
like
really
cheese that much. I'm trying to force myself into it. I like
I
lentils,
don't
but
see this.
I don't I'm
I've
trying to
been
find
trying
the right
to.
recipes because I'm like, we clearly
Well, let me
starting
know.
a company. We need to live more of this bean life. Like, God, this is stuff's so expensive,
That's right. We don't want a steak life, but not really in our budget right now.
right? I'm not in a
And we like
steak-like
live
world at the
close
moment.
enough to touch the cows. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, audience, we didn't really mean to
No,
land
it's just a
on
little
that downer
underpickings.
about how expensive it is, but I guess it does like just go into the whole reality of the whole everything's shifting. Things are, the economy's a little bit unrest. The obviously technology's changing. The news is, spinning stuff. And so hopefully our audience does find that we're a little entertaining, but more importantly, give them a different perspective or ways to think about that. We're all in this together and we'll all make it through it together.
Call to action. Let's like the more we accelerate through, it's like a mud puddle. Let's
It's
put on the
true.
gas to get out of the puddle. It's too expensive.
Yeah, exactly. If we just all push together, it'll go faster. The pain will be less. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us on System Override, and we will see you next week.